So here we go on another adventure, another tube amp kit. This is by Classix Audio out of Canada. 25 watt tube amp. And here's the main circuit board we're going to start out with. And here we go. I'll be checking values before I solder them in. Looks like everything's labeled real good here and is pretty self-explanatory. And here's the completed main board. And here's the input module that doesn't have a whole lot to it, but pretty cool that it's on its own separate circuit board. And here's the finished input module. And here we go with what they're calling the control module, which has bass, treble, and volume controls on it. Shouldn't take too long. We'll show you what it looks like here in a minute. So here's the finished control module all ready to go. Now we just got to get the chassis ready and install these circuit boards. Each part of this build is actually packaged separately and has separate instructions. This is Module 1, which puts together the pieces parts associated with the chassis. Just finished up the chassis here and put Module 2 into the chassis, and now I'm fixing to put Module 3 into the chassis. Coming together. This is pretty cool how this is designed. Running the board with jumpers like this. We'll see how well it actually goes together. So I got the main circuit board in, and the wires that you won't be able to get to underneath the main circuit board have been terminated to the tube sockets. Next thing I do is get these things down to each of the tubes. So here we are with most of the tube socket wires. I think the rest of them are gonna be part of either the power transformer or the output transformer. So this is all we can do for now. So here's the last little project before you start on the transformers. This should be everything in here until I get the transformer wires in. There's one thing about following these instructions. You get to a point and he says, okay, it's now time to take a break. Either get a cup of coffee or a beer. Well, I go get a beer. It tastes so good, I have another. Alrighty then. Got my transformers mounted. Power transformer right here is the one that was spec'd. But I had to come up with an output transformer. Found one on an old trashed amp that actually is probably perfect. It came from a dual 6L6 amp. And of course, this is a 6V6 amp. But after watching a half dozen videos on YouTube about how to check out a output transformer, find out the winding ratio, the impedance ratio, and what it'll work well with, this was pretty much a perfect match. Well, here we go. I brought the voltage up real slow with Variac without tubes. I definitely had voltage everywhere. Quite high voltage. 400 volt DC kind of stuff. So after a few tweaks here, I think I got this guy going. I'm actually using this old Cleveland speaker that came out of a spinet organ of some type. And I got a hold of the original Traynor Yorkville Sound schematic that's got voltages on it, and I went through and checked all of my voltage, and they're a little bit high. Sounds pretty good. Try the overdrive channel. Of course, we get a speaker that's mounted correctly. It'd probably make a lot of difference in the bottom end, but for just a first run test, this is nice. So one other thing I did here, I noticed that the transformer was getting pretty warm. I don't know that I've ever experienced a transformer getting that warm. The tubes were getting pretty hot. I guess I'm not that familiar with having the tubes out there in the open like that and being able to, you know, put my hand close to them and feel how warm they are. But I got looking at this and pulling my specs. And of course, I was told to hook up the white and the gray, which is the 115 volt. That's all fine and dandy. I guess everything's relative, but our voltage here at the wall outlet is 120, if not 121. So I changed it to the black, which is 125 volt, thinking that that'd bring that overall voltage down, and indeed it did. Where I was running 400 volts, I'm now, well, where I was running 418 volts, I'm now running 384. It's spec'd for 400 volts, but at least I'm on the underside of that instead of the overage size of that. Anyways, all my voltages that seemed rather high to me have come down to almost exactly what they should be, at least on the schematic. Anyways, just another FYI. Fun amp. Now I'm going to go hook it up to a real speaker